Good morning, everyone. My name is Yesenia Díaz. I'm with the College Hub, and I'm a College Hub program specialist. This morning, I have the pleasure of interviewing Stephanie Calderon with Workforce Solutions. And so Stephanie will be telling us a little bit about her role and what she does at her position. So listen in on everything wonderful that she has to say about her role. So welcome, Stephanie. Thank you for being with me this morning. I look forward to getting to know you a little bit more and answering some questions that I have about your position and your leadership role.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for watching and joining. My name is Stephanie Calderon, and I am with Workforce Solutions Capital Area. And my role is a career and education outreach specialist. And the districts that I serve is South Austin ISD and Del Valley ISD.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got to your role, maybe through your background and your education, and how you came to Workforce Solutions?
Yeah, for sure. So it's a little lengthy, so stay with me and then just ask me to clarify if I was vague on anything. So I graduated from high school at Del Valley ISD in 2009. So it's nice to kind of go back there and work there now with the students. And so from there, I actually went to Texas State University and I completed a double major, psychology and sociology. So I absolutely loved just understanding people and why they do the certain things that they do and why we think the way that we think. So that I knew I wanted to help people. I just never knew exactly what that was. So in Del Valley High School, there was a Go Center where we had the college and career counselor who would help you if you had any questions. She helped me get that little fund to make sure that I can apply through Apply Texas and I wouldn't have to pay all those waivers. It was super helpful, but she didn't really help me with like college guidance. She just told me like, go to college. It's going to be a best bet for you. You're going to be successful. And I'm the first generation in my family to go. So I believed into it. And I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I better go. But I didn't know what I was doing the second I stepped foot on campus. I didn't know how much the cost was. The tuition and everything was really sketchy to me. I didn't understand it all. And they were just so fast paced when you went in there, just kind of get you in and get you out. Like nobody was really there. And I was young. I was 18. I didn't really want to ask questions. I was scared. And so I just kind of just signed up for my basics the first couple of years. And then I had a college advisor and she told me to get into chemistry because I needed that credit. And I said, okay. And then like later down the semesters, I was in organic chem and stressing out because my major had nothing to do with science. So I was really confused about that. Since it was psychology and sociology, I didn't really get why she was like, oh, well, you're making A. So I just figured you should advance. And I'm like, is that really your decision though? Like, I'm really struggling here. Like I was in those classes, like studying and getting help from tutoring. So college was like a whirlpool for me. And then into my sophomore year, I got pregnant. So I was a single parent since that person didn't want to jump on board with me. So I was really letting down my family because I was the first to go to college and they thought like, since I got pregnant that I was no longer going to go, but I sure did. I had the best legs of my life my junior and senior year because I was pregnant and going up those hills. As you know, Texas State is pretty hilly. And so, yeah, I finished. I graduated in 2013. So I graduated within my 4 years plan. And my daughter was about a year and a half when I graduated. And I chopped through that. And then I really enjoyed it. I was like, yay, I have my degree. Like, I'm ready to hit the world. I'm ready to make some money. But I didn't know where I could work, like, with my degree. I didn't know, like, the professions or what the career titles were. I knew the industry, but I really didn't know what career titles I could do, as well as what the salary was for each career. They just said, like, oh, you can do whatever. You can work here. You can work there. And I'm like, okay. And again, there goes my self-insecurity where I was like, okay, well, I really don't want to ask too many questions. So I'll just start applying to things that say like that they require my degree. So I searched for the state, I searched for the county, and then I found ATCIC, which is Austin Integral Care. And so I was a service coordinator there and I worked with individuals with disabilities. I was there for 2 years and I loved it, but I got bored and there wasn't really much of a career ladder for me. So I decided to leave that place and start looking for something else, just so that way I can grow my knowledge. So from ATCIC, I went to probation. And so when I was with Travis County Probation, I really enjoyed it. I liked it. It was kind of more of the criminal field for me because I already did disabilities and mental health, but it wasn't enough for me. So 8 to 5, like, wasn't challenging my brain enough, and it wasn't bringing enough money home for me and my daughter. So I picked up a second job at the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And so that was actually here in Austin, and it's 24 hours, so you can make your own hours there. So I would work 8 to 5 as a probation officer, and then I would go in from 6 to midnight. And of course, yeah, and I had a lot of childcare for my daughter. My mom, my sister were super helpful with me. But I needed to do it because I wanted a certain lifestyle, and I wanted to be able to provide for my daughter. And so I did that for about a year. And then I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. Like, I want something that brings home the same income, but in one position, so I don't have to do 2 jobs. And so from there, I actually moved up with Travis County in the Justice Planning Division. So what they do is they work with criminals that are just getting out of incarceration, that have backgrounds, trying to reintegrate them into the workforce. So we would host job fairs that were felony friendly, and I would work one-on-one with those who have been incarcerated for 20 years and didn't really, like, coming out into Austin, like, this wasn't here, like, what do you mean I apply online? Like, there's not a hard application that I do. So just kind of relearning them, helping them with housing, and if there was a drug problem, helping them with that, like referring them out and stuff. So that was really fun. But I felt like I was getting them too late. So with probation, I would get anywhere from 18-year-olds to 70-year-olds on probation. And so I had like a wide variety. But then when I went to justice planning, it was just kind of a more older population, and my heart's with youth. So I was like, I really want to get back to before they even get incarcerated, like high school, middle school, whatever. So I started looking, and I came across Workforce Solutions, and this job description talked about, having experience with job fairs and career awareness and public speaking, and working with youth in middle school and high school, helping them discover what they want to do in that career path, educating them on what a career is, what that salary is, all only within in-demand careers. So not telling them about what they're interested in, but matching their profile interest with something that's going to be in demand in the next 4 or 5 years to guarantee that they're going to be making the salary that they want. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't have drafted up a more perfect application myself of my interest. So I crossed my fingers, I applied, and after a vigorous interview process, I landed the job. So, and then they asked me what school district I would be interested in working with, because we serve 5. And I told them, my heart is at Del Valley. I'm a SoCo girl, South Congress, born and raised. I would love South Austin. And they really liked the fact that I was in probation. So I also worked with Gardner Betts. That was the territory with South Austin. So it really just linked perfect. They were just like, you're really the perfect person for this position. And I'm going to be 30 this year. So I feel like after my 10-year journey of working in the workforce with my degree, I finally landed something that has my heart set on, that I wish I could have started a lot sooner. But I mean, within my journey, it kind of worked out perfect for me.
That is an awesome story. Yeah, you have a lot of experience working with different organizations. So I think that all paired well with you and your current position. It sounds like it's a great fit for you. That's awesome. That's a lot of the cases of students that we work with, of returning students, of students who are trying to navigate the workforce, just changing their careers, looking for ways to expand in their current, they have a path that they've started or a major that they pursued, and they're just kind of building on that. And so I think that's really fascinating that you can relate to students in that manner.
Yes.
On a daily, what does your day-to-day look like? Do you get to work with students one-on-one, or how is that, your role tied into that?
Yeah, so I have 2 districts. So I have Del Valley and I have Austin ISD. So I have to balance 9 schools in 1 week. So there's not enough days in the week to fit that many schools, to be there full-time 1 whole day. So basically what we do, all of the specialists, because we're kind of battling the same thing, is we'll make an appointment with the student. or, you know, when we do a presentation, because the teacher brought us in about LMI information, which is labor market information,
Okay.
or if there's a presentation about resume building, or if there's a presentation on job building, like job searching and seeking, that kind of field, then they'll ask me, what do I do? And I tell them that I'm disposable to them since this is my school. They're like, oh, great. Like, can we talk more one-on-one? So that's a great way for me to introduce myself. So we do presentations all the time, or I bring in industry speakers. So like the teachers will write me and say like, hey, like the kids are really interested in meeting with like a forensic interviewer. Like, could you please bring that person in so they can like hear their story? And I said, yes, absolutely. So I would get like dates from them and with the speaker, and I bring them in, and then I talk to them like, if there's anybody else that you want me to bring in, just let me know, because Workforce Solutions has a complete tie with everybody, and they want to talk to the youth. They really want to get into the schools and figure out like who they're recruiting, what's their next division, and then the students really combine with them and their interests of knowing like, oh, it's really possible, especially Del Valle High School. There's a lot of demographic there. We have predominantly minorities where it's Hispanic and Black. And so when I bring in a speaker who looks the same color as they do, who comes from the same background as they do, and who is successful in the career that they want to be in, I mean, it impacts them on levels that we can't even describe. So, I mean, that's really enforceable for them. They absolutely adore it and they love it. From those presentations and public speakings, then I'll go with them one-on-one. I'll pull their schedule to see when there's an elective, and then I'll pull them and we'll do like a career assessment or a personality interest profile, or we'll do something to where it ties in of what do we want to do, because 9 times out of 10, they don't know what they want to do, which is fine. I didn't know what I wanted to do in 18. So, I mean, it's completely understandable, but knowing that there's these tests that can tell them and narrow it down, more of a filter, helps them out so much. And then from there, we'll take it to, okay, what possibilities are available to you in Austin? Are there internships? Are there externships available for you? Is there a job shadow opportunity, even if it's like 1 or 2 days that you can do to see if this is something that you really want to do? Because our main focus is we don't want you to waste 4 or 5 years on something that you think you want to do. And then once you get into the job, realize this isn't a really good fit for me. I thought this is what I wanted, but I had no idea this is what it entails. So we try to give that awareness to them firsthand. We see about 1 to 3 changes with them of their job like wish. And then like finally at the end, they're like, okay, this is what I want to do. My heart's set on it. I know what it entails. I know how long I have to go to school, and I know how much it's going to pay. So like head on strong, this is what I'm going to do.
Nice. So you really equip the students, and you let them know from the get-go what they have to do and what they need in order to prepare for the next step. That's awesome. I
Yes.
know you mentioned a lot of your work is going to the district, going to the schools. Do you ever well, I know right now it's different due to COVID, but before, did you have like students come to you, or is it mainly you doing a lot of the like presentations and school visits and things like that, since you're working with those districts?
So the first year, it was a lot of, like the first semester was a lot of presentation, making that introduction, because our role is so new. They're typically hearing people talk about 4-year colleges day and night. And especially with the campuses that we have, they also have a lot of different programs, like 4 or 5 of them that are there to help them get into college. So I had to, kind of tell them a little how I'm different and what we do, because they were associating Workforce Solutions with like finding you a job. Yes, we do that as well, but my specific role is for career and education outreach. So informing you of all the careers that is possible, and informing you of all of the education that is required for that career field, and matching you with internships and externships and those types of things. So it was a lot of presentations in the beginning, but once I showed them that I am different and this is exactly what I do, I got all of the students that I wanted. Students who really needed that guidance, that were saying like, I can't afford college and I don't want to take out loans, and what I want to do doesn't require a 4-year degree. Can you help me plug into local, places that I can get into? And I would say, yes, absolutely. And so at that point, that's when they started emailing me, and they would ask like, when are you going to be on campus at this particular campus? And I would tell them like, oh, I'm scheduled to be there on Thursday. Great. I have an elective in the morning, can you pull me? And I said, yes, I can. And so I would leave like a pass in the front, and we'd have a space at each campus, so that way we can have that one-on-one with the students. And then from there, we would just continue conversation. So most time it would just be meeting them once, because what we're doing is referring them. our job isn't much of a caseworker. It's more of a let's get you started and here's the map. Now you go ahead and do your journey from there. So we would refer out and make sure I make those warm connections where it's emailing, ACC, Capital Idea, if they wanted to become like a dental hygienist, be like, hi, this is Stephanie. I had met with, John Smith, and he is interested in this program. Could you please inform him, blah, blah, blah. So that way the student can make that connection, because a lot of times they're really shy and they don't know how to make those emails. And I want to make sure that they do, in fact, like make that connection with the person. So towards the end, it became a lot. And with COVID this semester, it hit us pretty hard. But the students kept emailing like, hey, like, I need to get to work. My parents like lost their jobs, like, and they were working here, and I don't want to be in that predicament. Like, what can I do? What training can I take advantage of? So we got a lot of outreach from them. And so we were helping, as well as like doing like the MC3 program that we had for them and stuff. So we have a lot of things coming, but COVID kind of gets in the way, but we're maneuvering, social distancing and practicing all of that safety stuff.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah. It definitely has changed the way that we deliver our services, right? And we're just having to figure out different ways to continue to support our students and families.
Yes.
Is there anything else about your role that you would like us to know, or anyone watching this?
Yeah, sure. So, so the Career and Education Outreach Specialist, the districts that we serve with Workforce Solutions is going to be Manor, Elgin, Pflugerville, North ISD, South Austin ISD, and then Del Valley in Pflugerville. So we're pretty much around Austin. And if we don't serve your school, you can still request any of our services, whether it be like a presentation or any type of guidance. You can email us, and I'll drop that email to you via email. So maybe you can attach it here or drop it in the link below, so that way everybody can have it. We recently had an MC3 cohort with Harmony, Hayes, and we also had another district. So it's not the districts that we serve, but they're still coming to the programs that we're funding or we're hosting. So it's completely available, especially in times like this. We just want to make sure that people get into, something that's going to benefit them in the long run.
Now, I know there's different like workforce. Sometimes they're divided by district, or is it county? So if someone comes from like out of the county, you would still be able to refer or guide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're region on our Texas. So there's a whole bunch of workforce boards, and we are number 14, and so we're capital area. So if you come from capital Workforce Solutions rural capital area, and you need help, but you found our information first, we can quickly guide you to that person and connect, because we're all connected. And so it just takes a quick referral. And I've actually had somebody write me that was a Del Valley alum, but they actually moved to Lockhart. So technically they're Workforce Solutions rural cap area. And so they were like, I would love to take advantage of some of these things that you're talking about, but I don't live in Austin anymore. And I said, no worries. I contacted rural capital area, and I asked them, like, who's the contact person for this program that the student was looking into? And they told me over the phone. And then I just emailed that person back and said, hey, this is who you need to talk to. And they're like, I said, I already emailed them, and they're looking forward to you receiving, contact. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, thank you. Like, I mean, it just takes a phone call, and that's with anything. So a lot of Del Valley students that I had at the Opportunity Center, they were moving with relatives like in Lubbock, Odessa. They were moving down to Corpus, or they were moving to Houston. And I said, that's fine. Like, we can look at the Workforce Solutions stuff that they have over there in that region, and I can refer you out. And we can give them labor market information for whichever they're going to move. Because of course the demand is going to be a little higher here, because Austin is so booming and so big. But if you're moving to like a smaller town, we can still give that information to them, and that's not a problem.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have sometimes students that are just not a good fit for the types of services that you provide, and then you refer them out within Workforce Solutions?
Yes, all the time. So I can meet with somebody and they can tell me, I want to be a brain surgeon. And I'm like, okay, that's fantastic. Like, I may need you in the future, and unfortunately what we do is in-demand careers, and more post-secondary, but not require a 4-year degree. But unfortunately for that career, you're going to have to go to a college. You're going to have to go to medical school. You're going to have to do your residency, which is totally fine. we could still try and plug them up with Seton or, St. David's or any other type of hospital that's local that will offer some type of job shadow, or even a medical clinic that will help them get awareness to all of the different avenues and programs that they have within a hospital. But that's just to get them build up their resume. And, I can tell them like, okay, well, they have the Succeed program at Foundation Communities, or if you wanted to start and do your basics at ACC, they do have this, or, we would refer them out to any programs, no matter what their dream is, based off of our contacts that we make.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that's exactly what we're doing today. We're trying to build community and just understand more about the services that are available to us, because our city is constantly growing. There's constantly a demand for different opportunities and jobs. And so it's good to get acquainted with all the wonderful services that are out there. So
Yes.
thank you for sharing so much about your role. Do you or are you able to provide services in different languages for folks that are maybe Spanish or Arabic speaking? Those are mainly the languages that we work with, but I mean,
Okay.
anyone else.
Yeah, definitely. So Workforce Solutions does have that offer available. So we've never turned down anybody due to a language barrier or anything. We do have translators, and we do have people who actually speak those languages. So whatever it may be, that won't stop us from helping.
And I know moving forward, it's hard to tell with COVID. It's hard to kind of know what's going to happen. But how do you think your service delivery will continue to work for months to come? I know with school, it's kind of up in the air with a lot of districts, but how are you able to provide services to students and families in possible months to come?
Well, we have a lot of material for our teachers. And so right now it looks like it's going to be virtual until September for pretty much predominantly all the districts and stuff, just because of COVID safety and stuff. But from there, we're looking to connect with students virtually, and we're depending on the students and the teachers and the counselors to refer them to us. If they have a student who says like, I don't know what to do, like I'm a first time person who's even graduating high school, let alone college, like who can I talk to? They know what we do, and they refer them out with no hesitation. And we give them material day and night. We have tons of interviews that we've done with industry speakers that their students are looking to hear. And so we're providing those to the teachers at their disposal so that way they can use for a lesson or so. So based off of those views, we'll have our confirmation, our email and contact information for them to get in contact with every district they're coming from. So that way they can ask us more questions like, hey, I really liked this interview that you did with so-and-so, how could you get me in contact with them, or an internship, or can you just tell me how much education is required for this? Those types of things, what skills are needed, and all of that good stuff. So we're looking just to continue to collaborate with our districts and the faculty and staff, and then we'll be able to connect with the students through them. And of course, our outreach doesn't start there. We're on social media, we're emailing them. I have a Google Classroom for a lot of the district's campuses that I'm at. So I'm able to post information through there. If the teachers unfortunately can't for some reason, then that's another alley for me to get to them.
Yeah, and if you wouldn't mind just sharing some of that information, we could also share it out like your social media so that our students and followers can see that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. We're always trying to tag. Our communications definitely wants to start adding different organizations so that way they can retweet them or just kind of get them the knowledge of the know. But we can definitely send that over.
Awesome. And last, what is your favorite part about your role? I know you shared a lot about your passions at the beginning, but just wondering, what's your favorite part?
My favorite role is that smile that a student will give me once they realize that their dream is obtainable. That is my favorite part.
Yeah,
for sure. Hands down.
Thank you for sharing so much about your role and the beautiful work that you're doing with Workforce Solutions. I definitely know that this is just the beginning of our conversations for times to come. We can go on for a long time if we wanted to, but we definitely want to be respectful of time. But I do want to pick your brain a little bit about college, just because I think it would be interesting. What is something that you would advise a first-time college student?
Okay, so I got a lot. No, the first thing I would do is tell them to get their basically the roadmap for their college degree, whatever it may be. Your subject, your your major, get that roadmap and see what you need to do and what classes you have to take. Don't just take something because it looks easy and it's fun. Like if it's not on your roadmap, like don't waste your time and take it. And definitely only take things in small increments. Like I would only recommend 4 to 5 classes. I wouldn't do anything over that. Sometimes you need a waiver, and there's a reason for that because it gets hard. It gets really hard. So stick to your roadmap for your major.
That's good. Yeah. And so you earlier, I know you kind of touched on 6C program. So I'm happy to hear that. We work with a lot of returning students who may have tried college in the past or may never have earned any college credit. What is something that you would advise a returning student?
I would congratulate them for returning first more because that's the hardest part is getting back to it. I mean, people take 2 to 10 years to go back to college, so that's fantastic. I would tell them to stick with it. You're returning for a reason. This is something that you obviously want. This is something that's going to do some financial gain for you in the future in your career, in your advancement. I would advise for them just to communicate. Do not hesitate if you feel like embarrassed for asking a certain question. There's no such thing as a stupid question. I had plenty of those moments where I didn't understand anything and I didn't reach out. So if there's something, like, reach out. It's a short email, write it to whoever you're assigned to who's working with you, like, hey, I don't understand this. Is this technically a loan or is this technically a grant? Like, could you help me out with this? Or is there any way I can get into work study to make more money? Is there any scholarships for books because I'm struggling to make it? Like, whatever you have to ask, like, just ask.
Awesome. Yes, I agree with you on that. What are your thoughts on 8 a.m. classes? Did you have any?
Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh gosh, 8 a.m. seems so easy because you're doing it in high school. You're there by 7:45. It's no big deal, but oh my God, don't do it. It's so hard. I did that twice. I made that mistake twice in my 4 years where I was like, okay, but I was commuting from Austin to San Marcos. So if I woke up at 7:30, like, forget it. There's no way I'm making it to that because it takes 30 minutes to get to San Marcos from Austin typically. And then you have to find parking, which I don't know why you pay for a parking permit. There's never parking. And so you spend you're going in one lot, there's nothing. And then you go on another lot, there's nothing. And you go on another lot and you think you got something, but somebody steals it. So that's another 30 minutes. And then now you're hungry because you built up this appetite. So you stop and get a snack. And by the time you get to your class, like, everyone's already dismissed. So just don't do it. Give yourself, allocate some time for you to ride there with ease because you're already stressed out so much in college. Like, don't apply more stress to you, whether it's traffic and parking or, breakfast. Think smart, pack light, and get there. Plus, it's Texas heat. So nobody wants to run in that. Like, it's a lot of work. So no, start at a later time. You can wake up at that time, but I wouldn't have yourself be somewhere at that time.
Learned the hard way.
Yes.
Okay. And what was your favorite course in college?
It was Psychology 101.
Okay.
That's where it did it for me.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And until this day, I'm obsessed with it.
You're obsessed with it. Yeah, that's fun. And your least favorite course?
Organic chem.
Oh.
Yeah. I might as well have went to med school with all the credits that I had in chemistry. And that's why I say stick to your core subjects, because then you'll end up in chemistry like me, where I had no need to be in chemistry.
Yeah. Again, we had to learn somehow, but yeah, it definitely was challenging. Is there anything else that you'd want to say before we finish?
Just that you guys, just whatever dreams that you have, they are attainable. Whatever mindset that you think that there's a dream for you to do in the occupation that is your dream job, like, know that there's some wiggle room with that, just because you're not exposed to everything just yet. There may be one thing that you like, but you may find something else, and that's okay. That's normal. We always change our minds, but just educate yourself around the services of the dream job that you want.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Stephanie. You're very inspirational. And we're going to make sure to include all of your information below for anyone that wants to reach out on social media. So we'll be sure to include that in their video, as well as the questions. We'll be able to revisit these questions. But thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you sharing with us. Thank you. We really appreciate knowing that, you're doing this kind of work and supporting students and families who need the help. So thanks once again. I look forward to hearing from you. And yeah, we're here for you as well if you need any support from the College Hub or if you want to refer any of your students to us. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.